Terp Freaks Genetics. Send me your info. I'm gonna send you a pack of seeds. You were the first person to jump on the 420 live. Terp Freaks Genetics. I'll try to. What's going on, guys? Terp Freaks Genetics just scooped a free pack of seeds for being the first one in. I think I'm gonna start doing some stuff like that. You know, people that are paying attention and care to watch a stream. So, what would I say one more time? Terp Freaks Genetics. Yeah, shoot me your Terp Freaks. Shoot me your shipping info in a DM, and I will get you a pack of seeds. Dealer's choice. Yeah, I got a couple other things here that have been kicking around my seed box for a little while. This pack has been sitting in my seed bin, and because it's FEMS, it's just not me. Like, I just don't. But it's Runt's Rainbow Chip from these guys. Maybe you've heard of them. They've been around for a couple weeks. Yeah, we're going to give these away before the end of the day. This Runt's cross here from Exotic Genetics has got to be worth a couple $100. It's been sitting in my seed box, and it's like every time I go to pop seeds, I'm like, you know, I tend to pop stuff that I can work with. Like, it's pretty rare I pop something just because I want to smoke it, you know. Like, almost everything I pop has some sort of an eye towards, like, you know, I got a project or I'm working on something or I need to do tests for, you know, whatever I'm working on. And, yeah, I just don't run a lot of FEMS. And I hate to see them going bad in my seed case, you know. What's good, Earl? What's up, buddy?
Shit, dude. Yeah, that pack 2 came out right, like Mike has been popular for a long time, but when he started working with like the red pop and all that stuff, it started getting really hard to get his packs. So that's a good one. People are gonna love that one, bro.
I don't even know where. I gotta be honest. I think I got it in like a bulk. Like, I bought maybe a lot. Like, I bought like a lot on one of the auction sites or something. And this wasn't what I bought it for. Like, this just happened to be, you know, in with all the other shit I bought. Whatever I wanted, I paid for. And this was kind of just extra. And I feel bad, dude, because I have a lot of these packs, whether it's FEM stuff or whether it's just stuff that's not my taste, that, like, I feel bad because I know I'm not going to run it. I almost thought about throwing this one up on the website and just selling it. And then I was like, dude, it's 420. Like, we'll figure something out. Somebody just said, is Mike sick? Is there something wrong with Exotic Genetics, Mike?
I never heard that. But, I mean, it's not like I'm following him, talking to him, but I haven't heard that yet.
Dude, when I was doing cups more often, you know, like, he was one of those people that you couldn't be on a cup lot and not run into him because he always had a booth. And for a while, he had the biggest booth on the lot. And, you know, and he's just a good dude. He loves weed. You know, I got to be honest, some of those cookies and cream crosses are probably some of the most decorated strains as far as hash goes. As far as individual strains go, probably some of the most decorated strains in weed.
His strawberry and cream F1s were, I never even got I was able to get the F2s, but his F1s were and still are some of the hardest seeds to really, like, it was crazy. People were loving those strawberry and creams for sure. But,
yeah, I worked with a couple of his earlier strains. I worked with, was it Star Killer, maybe? Something like that. And then there was the Green Ribbon Back Cross I worked with. And then there was another one that was in a bunch of his early stuff that I worked with. And none of them really, like, all of that cookies and cream stuff was when his stuff really, really became amazing. Because, like, the earlier stuff that I've seen of his just didn't slap me. You know, it just, I worked with that, what did I say just now? Of course, I don't remember. But there was 2 of his older strains that I worked with, and neither one of them had kind of like a light lemongrass, kind of maybe cushy profile. But, you know, and it was one that he had made green ribbon back cross. That was the backbone in a couple of his strains that he made. And I don't know, you know.
What the shit?
I mean, I wouldn't hate on it. It's just when you run a ton of strains, like, you know, there's just a high bar. You know, there really is a high bar. And it's like, if it doesn't match up to, you know, everything else, and so I did one round with it, and then I just never, it's probably one of those like wounded soldiers that's floating around in my seed box. It's got like 3 seeds left in it, and I just hadn't had time to go back and give a shit to pick it up.
Yeah. He had a live a long time ago, and he gave me advice that I won't forget, I don't think. And he said, not me, he was just talking in his live, you know. And he said, this was when I was first fucking with the Brandywine crosses. And he said, if you want to ever be able to like sell seeds, you're first going to have to give a fuck ton of seeds away. He's like, because right now, this industry, like, people are going to have to not only like you and not only want your gear, but they're going to want to run it, or they're going to have to know somebody that ran it. And until other people run it or until they run it, you're never going to sell those seeds. But once you give out enough seeds and they're good, people are going to start coming back to buy those seeds. Yeah. And so that's why that whole brand, all my first stuff, I pretty much just gave away, because not only was I I didn't want to sell something that was shitty. It's not that it was shitty, but I just didn't know at that point. You know, I hadn't had a ton of experience. But it was his advice. I was like, well, I'd rather have these people grow these than pay me. So I'm just going to give them to them.
That's great advice. I mean, I tell people the same thing. The same thing with merch, too. Like, in your early days, you're going to give away some merch.
Yeah.
You're going to give away some merch. It's just, you know, if you're lucky and you can break even on merch and then give away, you know, most of your profit, you're still doing good, because that's how you get your brand started. That's how you get, you know, a product into people's hands. Let's be honest, like, that's how I started. I did a ton of giveaways early on. You know, I just, anything I could do. I just got to notice that the mystery bags on the website are officially live. The 420 mystery bags, go snag one, www.terpfiend.com, TERPFI3ND. Yeah, and we're still doing 420 sales, and you get a free t-shirt if you spend $100, not on the mystery bags. Anything else, you spend $100, you get a free t-shirt. I just didn't have enough to do every mystery bag gets a free t-shirt too. But yeah, man, so that's what's that?
Those are the t-shirts you said you found, like a box of them hanging out? Those are cool.
We were getting ready for a birthday party, and the wife found a whole box of shirts I didn't know we still had. She may have very well known they existed, but I realized we had a whole box of shirts, and I was like, you know what, every order over $100 for 420, I'll give you a free pack for each $100 you spend, and then you get a free t-shirt if you spend 100 or more. And it's just, dude, it's just, once again, man, it's like we were just saying, like, there's a certain amount of, you have to look at some of that sort of stuff as like a loss leader of, if you put your product on somebody else, somebody's going to ask about it. Somebody's going to talk about it. We did, you know, the run of shirts we did came from like 2019, 2020. And most of them, you know, we sold 80, 90%, but there was a design or two that didn't sell. And I just looked at those as like, push them out. Yeah. Just put them on people. I still have people hit me up with pictures of them wearing their shirts out, and, you know, their grow hats. And we did a small run of hats. Well, we're definitely going to do some more merch, especially now that I'm doing these, you know, AI images and stuff. And I've got so many killer images that I could use for just, even if we did limited runs or short runs, or, you know, like, somebody hit me off a couple weeks ago. I wish I didn't remember who it was. If you're the person that gave me this shirt 3 weeks ago, the Yoda shirt, hit me up, because I want to get some more shirts. I lost your Instagram. But anyway, this dude hits me up, and he's like, hey, I do, you know, kind of really high quality shirts. Can I use one of your images, and I'll send you a shirt? I was like, fuck yeah, please. I picked one of my favorite Yoda images, and I sent it to him, and he sent me this like super high def shirt. Now, I'm not gonna lie, they were a little on the pricey side, but it would be dope for just doing 10 or 15, 20 shirts of just like really limited batch images. I got to be honest with you, man. These mystery bags, like I get email updates when there's something through the site, and it's been like a slot machine for the last 8 minutes of just like
Nice,
the
dude.
mystery bags went live and people are snagging them up. So
See,
yeah,
it's
don't sleep
always,
on those, man. It's the deal of the century.
even when you don't have deals going, dude, like before me and you years ago, because I've been collecting, I got like your whole Nag Champa line. I got a couple of your lines where I got all of them because you have such good deals. And I was noticing too, I don't know if you even had the website then. Now on the website, you have like 4-pack deals. And like you go into these things, at least if I'm remembering that right. I haven't been
Yeah,
on there for a
five.
little bit. But
I think
yeah,
we do 5, 10, and 25.
yeah. And so it's like even with that line, I got your whole line, and I don't remember all the dollars, but it broke down to a very good deal, and everything was super exciting. If that's one thing that I remember that for sure. I need to get
Dude,
into
I like
706 are strong so far.
yeah. When I went into seeds in general, like I came from a place of like when I started growing, there weren't a lot of options to get seeds. So once I had access to the best seeds in the world, the top of the market seeds, my immediate instinct was to make them available to everybody at a reasonable cost. And that's pretty much how I've handled my business. You know, that's pretty much how I've handled all of my seeds. Like great seeds shouldn't only be available to people with unlimited wholesale budgets and running, you know, grow like huge commercial grows. Like anybody should be able to get great seeds at a reasonable price and grow great weed. And my whole thing was if I can make a better product and make it cheaper, then people will eventually realize that those people that are charging crazy amounts of money for seeds, it's unwarranted.
Yeah.
There's only a few instances, and I've grown them all. I've grown $500 pack, $800 pack seeds, and I've grown everything from closet grow seeds. And almost always I'll go with a small company, except for a few examples. Like there's a couple people that are working with heirloom and vintage and old school genetics that are worth its weight. You know, like let's be honest, everybody's taken from somebody. You might as well be taken from somebody who did it better than you do. So it's like, you know, the best thing we could do is find these older genetics where people are working with them, and that be the path towards what's next, instead of just whatever hype herm problem is out there for the next generation. You know, like the next OG Kush or the next GG4 or the next cookies or the next why not it be something that we can't compare anything to? I'd rather the next big thing be something where people go, I never saw that. I've seen
For sure.
a lot, but I never saw that. You know, and that's it. That's what people are looking for, man. Like
if you hunt through even 20 or 30, if you hunt through even 20 or 30 good seeds, you're going to find expressions that are super, like in every way, from like smell to look to everything. You're going to find expressions that are super unique. But it's about like being like, okay, this is something worth like taking, advancing, and trying to recreate and stabilize. Because like it's just wild. Like I'll grow out, and maybe it's just me being an idiot. I'll grow out, 10 seeds and get like 4 females and be like, man, this one I don't want. But these other 3, I really like this one because of this. I really love this one because of that. Never seen that before or whatever. And it's hard for me. Like there's obvious winners sometimes, and it's still hard to be like, hey, I'm throwing this out, even though it's doing this that I really like or whatever it is. But that's the best thing about hunting seeds. It's like even when you get a seed that's not a keeper, what you do, if you get good seeds, you get a lot. Like you don't have to hunt a ton of seeds to find a keeper. At least I don't. Maybe my view of keeper isn't as good or as heavy as a lot of other people.
Here's the trick, man.
There.
So many people in making seeds, right? It tends to be a lot of very superficial. I'm either doing it for the name or I'm doing it for this particular genetic profile, like this, that, or the other, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many different things that go into a great breeding plant, from, how well does it make seeds? How quickly do those seeds finish? Like there's so many things into what goes into making an amazing plant. And so many people are only thinking about how does it test? You know, how's the yield? And it's like, in order to make seeds for today's market, you really have to spread yourself out and try and cover as many bases as you can, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. The hardest way, and a lot of people like to breed this way, but for me, the hardest way to make seeds is off of clones, because I only know that one expression, and it's almost like starting, like you start like with your base, but you know nothing else about it really. And when you can even a keeper to like a 10 seed, you get your winner, you know, and you put it up against something that's been circulating, something that's fire, like a GG4. A winner in 10 seed probably isn't going to be as fire or as unique as GG4 was or is, but you can always find that something, and you're going to have such a better understanding of what that plant is. If you want to work with it, it's going to help you so fucking much to see the other 4 or 5 expressions come out. Even the males. Did they all clone really well? Did they all sprout really fast? Did they all get, like, how long did it take for them to get their tap? Because I've had seeds that just are bad at germinating. They're hard as fuck to germinate. And it's just that plant. It's just the mom or the dad or wherever it's getting that shit from. And so I've had clones, and it's like, I don't really, like, for me to know how to progress this, I almost have to cross it, grow it out, compare some shit, and then be like, okay, I can make a semi-educated prediction at what this might bring. But beyond that, it's really hard for me to take clones that I don't know anything about and make, like, a cross. That's all my shit.
You mean specifically like a clone only, like
yes,
a clone that maybe
yes.
you didn't pop from seed, but something that's just representative of one very select group of genes within that whole. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and that's kind of knocks on a couple things. Like you really do. One of the things that you touch on is that not every plant that grows well or even smokes well also breeds well, and there's so many situations where what we look for in a smoking plant and what a breeder looks for in a breeding plant are often two different things. Like as a smoker, you want something that smokes well, maybe it makes great hash, like whatever, you know, the last thing in your mind is usually the seed production end, the breeding production end, you know, like it's just, I need a great flat. And that's why, to be honest, that's why the fem market is as big as it is right now, because so many people are willing to, you know, just find one amazing plant and stick with that. And they don't necessarily have to think about the end of like, does this breed? Is there males? Is there, you know, that whole thing. But from a breeder point of view, we want those plants. We want those males. We want females in the gene pool. Most people selecting a male is a completely foreign thing. That's probably one of the questions that I get the most, other than how much CalMag should I be using, is, you know, at what point, what do I need to look for in a great male?
Yeah.
And the short answer is, once you see him, you'll know. But
for sure,
the other side is, as a breeder, as a grower, we have to get away from this thought that every plant is this delicate and beautiful life, and you need to get used to killing plants. If it can't keep up, it needs to go. You need to be real selective in your, if it's not 110%, excuse me, if it doesn't check all of the boxes, let it go. There's other fish in the sea, right? There's a million seeds getting popped every single day. So it's like, who knows what we're going to find in the next weeks, in the next months, in the next years, you know? And let's be honest, man, that's what keeps the seed business right now floating, is just that notion that, like, if we pop enough seeds, we'll find everything eventually. And we'll guard ourselves from when this all becomes a big money grab and huge, you know, huge companies want to patent every strain and every this and every that. If we flood the market with these strains now, you can never prove that your strain is real. So without actually genetically modifying it, it's going to be a tough row to hoe. Unless you go all the way back to, you know, you're making a strain from landrace genetics. And even then we get into a real, like, misappropriation of who did you take from and where did they come from, and, like, I don't, you know, But I genuinely, that's part of my spiel about open source genetics, is I genuinely believe if we treat all genetics as open source, then nobody can own any of them because everybody owns all of them.
Yeah, it takes one generation to change 50% of that. And so when I first started collecting seeds, which was only like hard, it was only like 70 years ago, or 77 years ago. I
was like, you look good, man.
Dog, I'm killing it.
70? 70?
70. 70. I can't do math right now, but
Anyway.
only like 7 years ago. But it was because there were talks. People would talk about they were going to try to patent or whatever that would fucking be, certain like terpene percents matched with certain cannabinoid percents. And I was like, holy shit, this might turn into apples. There might be fucking 5 of these.
That's happening right now. It's just not happening in the U.S. That's happening right now. I mean, in Israel, there's patented weed strains. Yeah, absolutely.
That's just wild. That's so wild to me because it's ever changing. I just don't know how. Like, that's going to be so crazy one day when somebody makes something completely new and they're like, nah, this matches this profile over here. You just completely made this. It's like, that's just.
I mean, let's be honest. If we look at it the way that science has kind of approached everything, eventually they'll just, you can literally breed a strain with an absolute profile of exactly what you want. I mean, that exists. For other things. So it's like it's only a matter of time. But once again, like in the interim, by having everyone have access to any genetics, which what that means is when you buy a pack of seeds, you can do whatever you want with them. You can breed the males, you can make your own F2s, you can make your own F2s, and you can sell them. You can do whatever you want because you bought those seeds. Seeds contain males. You paid for those males. There's absolutely nobody out there saying you've got to go throw half of these seeds in the garbage. Or let's be honest, it usually out of 10 usually comes out to closer to 60, 40, 70, 30. Like we could have a whole discussion about that. And that's been one of my, like I've had to talk to people before because people that come from the fem seed world, they go, well, how many are going to be females?
Maybe all.
And man, is that the toughest question ever. So if you take 1 million seeds and you take a 10 seed sample, it's going to be all over the place. You might get 2 females, you might get 8 females, you might get every 1 female, you might not get 1 female. Now I can tell you, out of a large enough pool, it ends up being 50-50. Generally speaking, depending on the genetics, depending on, a few other factors, but it's on a large enough pool, it generally tends to be close to 50-50. But if you're only taking a 10 plant sample of that, and you're only looking at 10 plants, there's no way to tell, like, you're going to be mad if I tell you 8 and you get 2, but both are possible, both are very viable options. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's hard for people to. It's hard to. I mean, it's hard in general. I always felt like I was good at, or lucky, really. I always found a lot of females, and I had this one hunt, dude, and it was not super long ago. And I had 150 seeds, and I got 30 females, and it was just like every day I was like, holy fuck, another man, every day, and I was just like, I couldn't even believe it. For like a week, I was pulling them out.
I've had that happen too,
dude. It was like the roughest, most like heartbreaking. And now out of those, I did find some nice, ladies that I still use, but it was still just like, oh my goodness. And that's when I started to appreciate autoflower a lot. I know there's kind of a stigma on them, but you can. So the autoflower is 75 days, and I bring them in now with my hunts when I hit under, or the last couple hunts at least, and they are able to like fill my area, kind of, because it's 75 days. I'll run at least 70 of flower. So if I know within, he has to run a week or 2 longer. But even when I flip, I bring my veg plants in, and they're not taking up the whole tray yet. Like I give them room to grow, so I can generally leave my autoflowers on the exact same tray, bring in my veg plant, and like it just like fills this niche for me so well. And then I started like they started just fucking smashing, and you know I can say honestly, my weight has been harder to get there, but every run I'm getting closer and closer, and it's to the point now where I'm like, holy shit. This next run I have of them, I got like 12 of them under one plant on 1 gallon pots, and I'm like, whoa, man, I might be close to hitting my gram per watt.
Nice.
So I'm geeked for them, dude. And I've been, I totally get, because I was always on like the anti-fem side and the anti-auto side, but fems seem to have come around to where people are at least like, in terms of like herming, they're stable, and these autos just make me a believer. But I think deep down I'm always going to be a photo kid.
Yeah,
there's just something about like the autos, and maybe I'm not as good at it yet, but the autos to me are more of like are super fun, and I love it. But it's like more of guessing. Like I run them out, and then I say, okay, this is a trait that I can kind of lock onto for the plant that I want out of these. And then I got to run them again and be like, okay, this is the strongest plant that has most of that trait that I'm looking for, or whatever I tag them to. And it's so there have been times where I was like, this plant will be in flower, and I'm like, man, should I have put that over there? And I always stick with it because the plant's already pollinated like a motherfucker at that point. And but yeah, it's more of a guessing to me. And there's great auto breeders out there. And I run almost all my own seeds now, and they're fucking fire. But the photo for me, being able to take the clone, being able to like have it for a while and like really work and like figure it out a little bit more is like more. I'm not gonna say more rewarding, but it's like maybe more comfortable with it. Might be the best thing right there.
yeah. Yeah, we couldn't. To be honest, like I'm talking PC and you're talking Mac. Like it's one of those things that like I've always thrown them in the trash. 20 years every time I popped a seed, and it showed any tendency to flower and veg at all. It just went in the trash.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of those things where like I get a lot of people ask me like, why don't I do fems, and why don't I do autos, and why don't I do fem autos? And it just comes down to like, it's not what I'm passionate about working with. And there are legitimately people out there who are very passionate about doing that work, and who, you know, like you said, who find it really interesting and find it something they want to do. And it's just like, why would I fake it for a buck?
No,
like, you know,
sure.
I know I can make more money just hustling my favorite cuts, and, you know, and hitting them with fem spray and just selling feminized. It's just not what I'm passionate about. It's not what I want to do. And like, I love that people like you, or like anybody else who's out there working with, you know, unique niche things like that. It just, for me personally, I never really had a need for it in my own gardens. And that's just, you know, I think it fills a very specific niche, both fems and autos. There's a really specific like group of people who that's their thing, and that's what they need. And you need it fast flowering outdoors, and you don't really want to have to trifle about, you know, and that's awesome. It's just, at the end of the day, like, I tend to work more with stuff that I know I can breed with. And I always had this thing in the back of my head that if I'm not specifically working towards autos, then having auto flowering plants around is kind of a pain in the ass. You know, like,
for sure.
It's literally like trying to chase a cut that doesn't want to be a cut. Yeah. And it's one of those things that, man, you know, we get into a couple of different things, but like I said, like, I'm just one of those people that, like, I don't want to work with it at the end of the day. If it's not what I'm passionate about, and it's not what I love, and it's not something that I'm going to get up every day and be like, yes, I'm stoked about this. And it's just, you know, there are people who love that and who are doing that work, and, you know, reversing all kinds of plants and making all kinds of new, strange and unique crosses, and doing, you know, and power. I support it. I love it. I love to see it. I'll be the first to tell you, every seed is genuine. Every seed is valid. Every seed means it's another plant making it to another generation. So that's, that's what the gene pool is all about.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as long as you're super honest about what you're working with, and it says fems or autos on there, and other people understand that's not the best stuff to then go work with and breed into, other stuff. It's great for kind of sluicing through a gene pool and seeing what all's there. But at the end of the day, a lot of the problems we have were from feminized or herm pollen in the gene pool, and some of your famous strains and some of your, the best hype strains of the last 20 years came from not male pollen.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we have so many issues in the gene pool. And it's like, well, a lot of it came from most of your favorite strains, the backbones of so many of these breeders, the strains that people used from long way back are still producing problems in the, in the larger area. And now we're kind of getting to a point again. So for a long time, the biggest region producing seeds was like the Netherlands. The Dutch produce tons of seeds. You go to Amsterdam to get seeds. And now it's kind of almost all become American genetics. American seeds in the last 15 years have really blown up as a market. There's so many more people making seeds probably than ever. I would guess every single day there's more people getting into the hobby and more people breeding on their own and trading those genetics. And that's awesome. That's awesome, because what that means is your favorite strain, whatever your favorite strain that you've now fell in love with and decided you wanted to breed with, moves on to the next generation. There's a chance that it can survive a little longer. And I always tell people, man, if you love two strains, breed them, see what you get, make those seeds and share them. It's the best thing you can do, man.
Yeah, if you love two strains, you breed them, and then even especially if you F2 those, I brought up before how I like to F2 something I want to preserve. And even taking it farther, a lot of people will but I like F2ing because you can specifically pull out a grandparent. And it's a way for me to hunt something that's maybe really popular or really expensive and not spend that money. I'll find a pack where it's crossed into something I already know I really like, and then I'll F2 it, and then I'll hunt for that. I'll be okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to look like this. Yep. And I'll hunt for that strain. And it's just it's a little bit more work, but then now
you're really giving away all the secrets, though, bro.
So, well, I'm just saying,
now you're really giving away all the secrets, because we all do that. We all do that. Well, here's the thing, man. I don't need to trifle about your clone only. If I can find seeds somebody made with it, I don't care. Exactly. I would rather not have the clone only, because then I don't have to justify whether this is the cut, the only cut. Did it come from such and such, or did it not? Is it not? I don't have to give you provenance. I popped it. I popped it from a seed, and I don't really have to care about whether it's the official cut that came from the factory or I don't have to care. I don't have to care.
And you know how its sisters look. And and it's probably, that clone only is going out there. Yours is going to be a little different. Yours is going to be unique, different. It's going to be, so that's the best part of all of it. It's there are some clone only plants that I've loved, Cushman's. Fucking Cushman's is so goddamn good. Super slow veg. I see why people breed with it. It makes great crosses, but it's a clone, and at least it was for me. I got it only as a clone. I never saw it in seeds. The straight Cushman's. Have you seen it? Has he ever had that straight in seeds? I'm talking the number. Cushman's 11. Yeah, it was like a seed and a number. It was his Cushman's 11. And
wait. That's Jay Beasy, right?
Yeah.
He released a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I'm sure those went out of seed at some point.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of crosses. I don't know if I've ever, but yeah, you're right. That was all fire. But
I will say this though about the veg time, man. A lot of that one, if by my memory, the crosses that I've run is really Kush heavy. It's a little lanky.
Yeah.
for a Kush, but it's like in the leaf pad in the same way OG Kush is kind of similar to a Kush, is that it's got that like really green, really kind of funky cushy profile. But Kush mints to me, like a lot of the crosses I worked with tended to have like really look very cushy and had like just a rank profile. I mean, the profile is really funky.
Yeah. The one I got, the 11, it was just a crazy. The veg was hard for me because I had a schedule, or I have a schedule, and so when it's like, it doesn't matter really how much nitrogen I pump at this thing. It doesn't matter how close or far lights get or how much power we add. This thing is slow. At least it was for me. And but yeah, it's just so much better to hunt through one of those crosses. If you want the Cushmans, you say, I want to know what that original shit was. You hunt through one of those crosses, F2 that shit, two favorite females, two favorite males, or some shit, F2 that shit, and fucking hunt it back out. And it's going to tell you a ton about possibility and probability, even a little bit, if you do a few numbers on it.
So, like, here's another little trick that I've kind of used. So, anything that you cross to banana, anything, right? My experience has been they don't generally carry that banana really heavy to the next generation. But what it does is it tends to be kind of a neutral palette for other stuff. So it's like it's good to cross stuff too, because in my opinion, most of those banana strains are really high in myrcene, which is a plus in any cross you're building. And there's so many of them where it doesn't really, whatever you're crossing it to, it doesn't interfere super heavy with the profile. You know what I'm saying? So you can cross it to something really, really terpy, and then instead of usually having like banana and that, it just kind of tends to be what you bring into the table with the other cross. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So that super banana candy thing, I've tended to see is really specific to a single plant. So if you go pop 10 seeds and one of them ends up being really, really banana heavy, usually the rest of them are not. They're just kind of cushy. They're just kind of generic. They usually don't have, like, that's one of those weird profiles that it's to find that like specific banana candy runts type, not runts the candy, not runts the weed. It's a really rare kind of pheno, and then it's like most of the other crosses from it and the other stuff that you work with it aren't going to be super banana heavy. Like it's just weird. So like that's what I've tended to do is like the one that I worked with the Kush mints was the banana OG Kush mints and the banana Ghidorah mints, and it just it had this weird like wet rag, heavy on the poop beans, like just really musty, almost moldy smell, but like just like a rank foot thing, right? And it did a lot of it was the Kush mints coming through, like because there wasn't any banana anything on any of them.
Yeah.
And I kind of hit that too, the Mecha Godzilla, which is just a heavy Kush cross in general. And yeah, it's all of those have been just like wet mop bucket garbage, like this weird array of like pooping fetish type of descriptors.
Yeah.
It was one that, like I said, the first time I got COVID, I think it was, I had some going at the time, got COVID, and it made me sick to my stomach every time the tent would open. Like it just smelled so rancid. It always had like the weird thing about a lot of those weeds like that, it'll have this like almost a sweet thing too. So it can't just be like all savory. It's like this rotted sweet thing, and it just turns your stomach, like bad milk and Thai food or something,
Yeah.
It's like so many of those GMO crosses and so many of those chem crosses, it's like that. It's like just funky, rotten. It's tough to point at something else that it smells exactly like,
Yeah. 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 So I don't have a ton of experience with banana, but I have hunted through 3 packs now of banana OG from a dude. And on the first 2, I was looking for that super banana. And after those, I talked to him. I was like, dude, I'm going to hunt this third pack. He said, I found the structures were fantastic. It responded really well to how I like to train. It filled in my canopies like fantastically. Bottom branches always reached up. It was almost like an upside down umbrella, like every girl, every lady. And he said the exact same thing you said. He's like, it's really not, the Banana OG brings a ton to breeding. It's fantastic to breed. He said, but there's not going to be a ton of actual banana in that. So you can find it in there. It's just not going to, that's why it's great for breeding, because it's just going to bulk everything up, and it's going to be a really unfussy cross.
It'll be there. The problem is that profile that you're looking for is going to be so much more rare. Like, it's there. Yeah. It's not going to be every plant like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
and the thing about Banana OG gets really lanky.
Dude, the ones I grew were like all of them, and maybe it's just, so I pinch, and I think technically they call it high stress training. I pinch and pull over a lot. I don't do a lot of topping unless it's like I'm running like different strains and something's like way out of control. I'm like, man, there's no fucking way I can put this next to it. And so then I might top a time or two. And it just responded. And so it's very possible. But I got, maybe it's because of that lankiness that I just always had the bottom branches came up really well. And I'd always know it was just such a strong fucking badass plant. But I could never pull banana off of it. And that's what I was looking for. So it was always like on to the next one. So finally with this last one.
So like Banana OG specifically. So there's also, we're running into like just a few minutes left here, but I'll go on a banana rant real quick because it's one of my favorite things on the planet, and I love anything banana. So Banana OG, the cut, like if you find a cut that's very typical of Banana OG, it's not as banana as, say, there's another cut that used to be really popular in Colorado, may still be. We called it Banana Kush, and it was a short little Christmas tree looking plant. Like you almost had to give it months of veg to get like a tall plant out of it. And that's the big problem, is there's a lot of stuff. There's probably 100 different phenos of Banana OG. I mean, what people call Banana OG. And I've never seen one that was very, very banana. The Banana Kush cut that used to be really popular in Colorado was very banana candy, like almost the Banana OG has like almost like a OG skunky thing. And like the Banana Kush is almost all just like banana candy.
Yeah. That's the one I need to find.
Yeah, do we want to wrap? You want to do another half a sesh? I mean, I got another 9 o'clock. I got to do another podcast at 9. So we can always just wrap it, man.
Okay, we can talk again, bro. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. And first off, a huge thanks, Earl. I appreciate you dropping in. This was kind of your idea. You're the one that mentioned doing a 420. And I was doing a 9 o'clock later with Drew, my buddy Drew. And it was good, man. This one went really well. Once again, dog, we can kill an hour, no problem. Like it goes really smoothly for us. Anybody that hasn't grabbed one yet, the 420 mystery bags are on sale. www.terpfiend.com. It's $100. You're guaranteed to get at least $210 worth of seeds. So you're going to get at least 3 packs of seeds, but you could get up to 10 packs. So we do some that are 3, some that are 4, some that are 5s, all the way up to, a couple that are 10. And this round, we're doing 10 golden tickets. Each golden ticket is also good for another free pack on the website. And hit Earl up, man. Earl's got projects, tons of stuff going on, I'm sure. What other seed stuff you got? You do sell seeds, right?
Yeah, dude. I sell seeds for sure.
Discord. That's where people can find you, right? Discord. Yeah, generally.
I got Discord. I got the Instagram I'm on now. I am the Regal Beagle too. We got a show tonight too, but definitely make sure you get on and check Terp out. And if you have a Discord, we're kicking it. Me and Mr. Weedman. We have a podcast. Terp's been on there a few times too. Weedman 420 Chronicles, the Grow Hour. Both very, very great shows. So I appreciate you, dude.
You guys kill it, man. I always appreciate these because, like, anytime I have somebody bail or something goes sideways, you're always willing to do an hour, no problem, and that's rare, man. Like, like I said, once I started doing these, my whole thing was if I'm gonna say I'm gonna do them, I'm gonna do them, and it's always nice to be able to put something together, even when something unexpected happens, or it's just 420 on 420, man. Yeah,
just hanging out, bro. Yeah,
so
always
pick up
down,
some
man. So
seeds.
anytime.
Hit Earl up for some seeds. I'm sure there's some 420 deals going around. Thank you guys so much. I'm doing another one at 9 o'clock. Come back at 9, same place, different station. Peace.